this movie didn't do a lot for me, but when I left the theater, on the way home, I was listening to Nas and I kept like rapping to myself, and like the word primate was like how I structured the first bar, and like primate, those syllables were guiding me to my rhyme scheme, and I was like having fun with it, and I was like, what did I say? I said time takes primates to a divine state. I was born a year prior to 9/8. Physically, I'm on, but lyrically, I'm in my prime shape. That's not great. My delivery always sucked, which is why I never made a song or an album or an EP or anything or money, whatever. But yeah, I thought that was cool that I did that on the road while driving. Not texting and driving, just driving, listening to Nas, zoning out, hoping a deer didn't pop in my way. What worse than a deer being in your way is a chimp being in your way. That's a wonderful segue. That's the greatest I've ever done in my life. New year, new me. So, Ben is who this movie is about. Ben is a chimpanzee. Let's talk about Ben and the movie Primate. Ben is a loving chimpanzee that becomes a crazed killer after contracting rabies. They actually explain rabies is like, it's a Latin word, whatever, fine. I hope that's true because I said it and it must be true. But they say it started off as like hydrophobia, like it created this fear of water from animals or within animals. And I didn't know that. Like, is that a thing? Are like rabid animals afraid of water? Because if that's the case, they could never see a James Cameron movie. I'm not doing good jokes today. I'm sorry. Anyway, so January movies mostly suck. This movie is, building up some hype online, and for good reason in some cases. But let's just see how I think about this. I think the idea of a homicidal chimp going apeshit on defenseless teens is intriguing, as most of us do. But Primate's gruesome kills and occasional humor aren't enough to salvage its grueling pace and frustrating tropes. Now, the characters in this movie are not like complete idiots. Like, they do get kind of creative with how they want to avoid and attack this I keep wanting to say monkey, but monkeys not, they're not, chimps aren't monkeys. I don't know. I don't care. They're not, I don't think. But whatever. Yeah, this animal is, obviously apes are like just insanely strong and nimble and can get high and can get low quicker than you can even blink. All these things are intimidating, and our characters do have to get creative about how they want to navigate the house to get to a cell phone. So a lot of this movie is somewhat claustrophobic because you're in a couple of rooms as characters try to inch their way to what they hope is a safer alternative than just like facing the monkey head on. But this is a horror movie, so obviously most, or if maybe all of these people are unsuccessful in their quest for safety. But anyway, the thing about this movie I like the most is that they have this like wonderful scene and sequence with this deaf character, and I think it's great that like there's been more of that in movies recently. Like, obviously there's a spectrum of people out there. Different people have different things going on in their life, whether that be something they're born with or something they acquire through illness or injury. But like, to see representation, it goes a long way, because I remember as a kid my favorite superhero was Static Shock for a while because he was black, and we didn't have many of them. And that means something to a lot of people. So to see deaf characters popping up in movies is actually really cool. And I expect to see like characters with like vitiligo get lead roles. Like, things should be this way, despite what some people say. Anyway, that character has a really cool sequence because as they enter this scene, this very tense environment, everything hushes. There's no sound. We live as they live. We hear as they don't hear. So we don't hear anything. There's no soundtrack. There's no effects. Not even the sound of their footsteps. There's nothing. And I thought that was really immersive because before that, I mean, there are great moments with the score. I don't know who did the score here, but it's like this like upbeat tech score. It's almost as if it sounds like Halloween, like the Michael Myers theme, but like a modernized techno kind of version. I don't know how genres work, but it's like a cool, busier version of that in a way. And it's really cool. It sounds great. I used the word cool twice in one sentence, and maybe I should read more books. I was actually saying on my Instagram, I think a lot of us are losing our ability to spell because of autocorrect. I'm really one of those people. Like, every now and then I'm just like, how do you spell this thing that I say pretty frequently? And that's embarrassing. We should be better about that. Anyway, that sequence is great, fantastic, and the gore is great. The monkey always looks really good, which is important because if the monkey looks odd, you're taken out of every single scene because you're getting one of those uncanny valley moments, which I think maybe only applies to humans. So maybe not uncanny valley, but you recognize that something's off about a creature that you recognize, and your brain can't process that. That does not happen with this because, I mean, I don't know too intimately how chimps look, but it looks good. It moves well. And the gore is fantastic. I mean, they really want to show you what happens to some of these people. And some of those cuts are pretty quick, but others they linger a bit longer and you're like you're watching the ape rip things off people's bodies in a really fantastic way. So those are the positives of this movie. Again, I did mention the pace is off. Like, I feel like the first scene tells you what the gore is going to be. And you get excited for that. But then the movie takes its time to arrive to that scene because that scene happens out of order. So you get the first kill as the first scene in the movie. And then we're like lolling around for about a half hour. And it's not abysmal pacing, but to me, these movies are a bit like cliche. And like I kind of don't like the characters that I'm attached to because they're all kind of, I mean, they're not bitchy or they're not too bitchy or bratty in this, but they're also not compelling. So I do want to see them ripped to shreds quicker, and that may say something about me or about the movie. I don't know, but overall, I think this is a 4 out of 10. Honestly, without that, like without the effects being amazing and without that death character sequence, then I would not have given it such a high score because the family drama, which they do try to push at the top half of the movie, doesn't land well. We have a sister coming home from what I assume is college. Her little sister's like, "You don't come by anymore. We don't talk as much anymore." Their mom died from cancer. Their dad is deaf. He's always working. There's some dissatisfaction amongst the family, you know. But like, ooh, I'm here for a chimp, and the chimp delivers, but the chimp's not there enough. So, 4 out of 10. Not a terrible start to the year. I think a lot of you guys will have more fun with this than I did, and I hope you do. Because honestly, the people behind this movie, I'm not gonna say the writers of the story, but at least the effects team and whoever did the music, like they're really good at their job, and I hope they get more work, and I hope I get to enjoy more of their work and enjoy more of their work that I do enjoy, if that even makes sense. I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead and say good night. Have a good one. 4 out of 10.